Good morning. So today is Monday morning, March 13th. And yesterday was Mother's Day. So occasionally I will feel led to do something that doesn't really fit in with my horoscope readings. And today is no different. So I have a couple of videos that I'm going to do. And this first one is kind of I feel like I keep going back to this time last year I was doing this time last year I was doing that. Because this time last year I was kind of just starting this whole major spiritual awakening, or second part of it. It's like I feel like I kind of started it slowly, but I really hit the ground probably after I moved into my apartment here in February. And I had big plans to do all kinds of things. When I got in here, I'm like, I have my own space now. I'm going to start doing videos and start working on my essential oils. And I'm going to start doing this. And I'm going to start doing this. And what ended up happening was apparently Spirit decided that they wanted me to learn stuff instead. I moved into this apartment and did not get cable. And since there's nothing on regular TV, I ended up watching a lot of YouTube. And that was when I was kind of started getting introduced to the event and all of these people that were out there doing the tarot cards and talking about the old programming and changing that, and just, all kinds of stuff that just kind of kept coming into my awareness. So over the weekend, somebody had mentioned on one of my posts about a Kundalini awakening that they had, and that made me think about something that I wanted to share with you guys. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I also feel like I feel like I have tapped into a whole new group of people that have just walked into hell. I've talked to some on the phone. I've talked to some by email communication, and the reading that I did the other day for, I think it was my cancer reading that I did. It was like, I felt like I tapped into a new group that had literally just like walked in, and they are at the beginning of this spiritual awakening. They have just hit rock bottom, and they are at, the very beginning journey of the dark night of the soul. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's hell on earth. Trust me, I've been there. So when I kind of started going through the spiritual awakening last year, and I was having like good days, bad days, good days, bad days. And I felt like I was bipolar. I mean, I never knew if I was going to wake up and have energy and feel good enough to do anything. And then out of the blue, I would get hit with something, and then I just was like emotional. And so I watched a lot of TV. And in the process, I ran into a lady named Allison Coe. So if you guys she hasn't posted anything for a while, but she is a QH, quantum healing tech therapist. I can't even remember, whatever she does. Kind of like, it's like a hypnosis where you take people back, and so she had some really awesome stories of clients that she had taken back, and talking about New Earth and what it was going to be like in the future, and people that had come here from other planets. I mean, I was just kind of like, wow, this was some stuff I had never tapped into before, or watched or heard of. And one of the things that she had mentioned was rewriting your story. And I've heard of rewriting your story before, but I was not open to doing anything like that at the time, because I'm like, you know what? This is how my life happened. You can't rewrite the end of the story. But the way she presented it made it sound like it was kind of like reformulating some of your memory in your brain from it being a super traumatic thing to less traumatic. And I'm going to be honest, I'm like, at this point in time, I don't feel like I've had anything majorly traumatic happen in my life. Now, if you'd have talked to me in my 20s and 30s, it was woe is me and oh, poor me and oh my God, why is this happening? And, life was just horrible and pathetic. And, when I think about it, I'm sure I was very pathetic to a lot of people. Anyhow, so she's talking about doing this, rewriting the story. So one day, I've watched her and I'm like going, she seems like she knows what she's talking about. So I decided I'm going to try that. And I wasn't feeling that good that day, whatever was going on. So I'm sitting on the couch watching YouTube, as I did a lot of back then. But I was also, I was learning. I know now, basically, I have told people this, I was getting like an advanced calculus degree in spirituality is what I feel like I did. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I have some things that I don't really like the way they ended. Some relationships that ended badly that I still had, either I felt bad about, or I had hurt feelings over, or just some different situations that I would have liked to have had different endings to. So I go lay down on the bed and I'm kind of, I'm laying there and I'm thinking about different examples, and I rewrote it. It's kind of like, this is how it happened, but I would have felt better if it had happened this way. And this is the way this happened, but I would have felt better if it had happened this way. And so I did, 4 or 5 of those, and then fell asleep. So then I go into this dream that, I guess I was at work. It was not any work that I had ever been at before. It was like an office of some sort. And I was talking to a guy that I worked with, and in the middle of the conversation, I felt like this big, huge energy, kind of hit me, and that I was laying back, in the chair, and literally having a full body orgasm in this dream, and thinking to myself, oh my God, can he tell what's going on? I mean, I could feel it inside of me, and my logical brain is kind of oh my God, can he see what's going on here? And when I kind of came out of that whole experience, still in my dream state, I come out of it and he's gone back to his desk. So he didn't even know anything had happened. But I remember going after that, I was like, oh my God, that was freaking awesome. And running through the hallway, running and looking for my friend Kathleen, going, Kathleen, I think I've had a spiritual awakening. And I come out of that dream thinking kind of wow, I mean, if rewriting my story in my head allowed for a really awesome full body orgasm, I suggest you guys try that because it was a good experience, and I do feel like I released something after that. So I don't know if any of you guys have had any experiences like that where you have physically felt the Kundalini awakening or anything like that. I mean, I know that's not something that you can talk to about with everybody. I have one friend that I can tell that stuff to, and she doesn't really judge me. One friend in person that I can tell. And then I have another friend that I have just kind of quit stopping and telling anything to, because I can tell we are so not in the same place these days that, and she's really super judgmental. So I've just quit telling her anything pretty much. But anyhow, I'm curious, any of you guys have had what you believe a Kundalini awakening or any kind of physical sensations that kind of shocked you into something. So anyway, that's kind of that story. I feel like I am doing a lot of these video stories because there's this part inside of me that thinks there's going to be a day that I'm going to want to be able to access this. I don't feel like sitting down and writing a book, but I feel like I need to make sure I have this stuff documented for some reason. And you guys get to hear the documentation of that. So as things happen going forward, I will document this by video. And if you want to listen, fine. If you don't, I'm fine with that too. And as I think about different things that happened in the past over the last year or so, I will probably start documenting some of that stuff too, because for me, journaling seems to not like work anymore. And it's like I feel like I have advanced past the journaling part of it. And it's not as effective for me as it was at one time. So I had to kind of take things up a little bit of a notch. So you guys will benefit from that, hopefully. And if you don't, then you've not even got to this part and you're not watching it. So anyway, yes, if you think you've had a Kundalini awakening, I would love to hear about anything like that. And now I'm going to move on to my next video. Have a good week. Bye.